Hey everyone, and welcome to my video sketchbook, which is just a catch-all for all the non-episodic speed painting videos and whatnot. But anyway, this happens to be November 1st, and you might not know what November 1st is, but it's actually a holiday for artists. It is International Self-Portrait Day. So I always do my best to try to remember to do some self-portraits on November 1st, and it's something that I believe started at conceptart.org. But it's kind of a nice little holiday. It forces you to do some self-portraits, and you can look back through the years on your international self-portrait that you did that year, and it's kind of fun. So I recommend everyone do a self-portrait. It doesn't have to be great, it doesn't have to be perfect, but at least try one, and it should be a lot of fun, and hopefully you'll get something out of it because self-portraits are probably the best way to improve your real-life drawing skills. Well, maybe not the best way, but at least the easiest way, because obviously you're a very accessible model. You can always look in the mirror or pose for yourself, and it's a great way to, practice your realism. So anyway, here we have me starting my little piece. I did it completely differently than I normally do, but it's kind of fun to mix things up. Sometimes I start my facial drawings with just the eyes and then work outward, or I start with random things. This time I started with the head shape and then started with the mouth and worked upward, which is really weird. And I don't think I've ever actually done that before, but whatever. Try new things. Always be messing around. Don't get locked into any certain method, which is kind of counterintuitive. I think a lot of people will be telling you to actually do faces in a certain method every time, but I think it's more fun and possibly helpful to try to approach them differently every time. It just kind of makes some interesting variations happen, usually. But anyway, we have this self-portrait going on, and I got that big old nose and those weird skinny face. I feel like one of my best characteristics, or at least my most noticeable things, is those huge kind of hanging cheeks that kind of skinny people have, and they hang it down a bit, and it makes it really easy to know where the mouth and the chin are and stuff like that. So yeah, self-portraits are kind of fun, or just portraits in general are kind of fun because they kind of get you more interested in people's flaws rather than trying to make everyone look pretty and stuff like that. Eventually, you start to love these things, these like kind of things that are considered awkward or unattractive. But these become the things that you find interesting all of a sudden because no one wants to sit around drawing pretty people. It's obviously boring. It's kind of pretty people are generally more symmetrical. They're more standard, if you will, anatomically. But they don't have that personality that you might have in random people off the street and whatnot, where they have these weird features and big noses and weird ears and strange, basically anything that could become a caricature of that person. So I think that's one of the great things that art has brought to me is kind of a better appreciation for all the different people's faces and facial features and different characteristics that everyone has. Makes you appreciate them more. So there was a little cut there, and I've actually because Camtasia crapped out. But there was a little cut, and I'm going to show some other portraits that I did right before I did this one, just for fun. I wanted to get some warm up in, and then I decided I better start recording because this can make at least a fun video, show the method or whatever. This is probably my favorite one with the blown out cheek. It's definitely a good face, and it's a good way to showcase some different anatomical features, such as those cheeks and the way they work into the area below the mouth. Yeah, so I probably should have colored in that one, but I decided that since I drew this one on video, I'll just stick with that and start coloring this one. So just kind of recentering my camera. I don't have much to say about the line art. I should have said more, but I feel like this is probably one of the ugliest painting jobs I've ever done. And I don't mean like the result is ugly, I just mean the method. Like, I'm kind of a bit tired and delirious, and I've been up all night because I wanted to get this out at the start of the day so people would have a chance to do their self portraits and take advantage of that. People that might not be aware of it, and hopefully I can spread self portrait day to someone new by my video YouTube channel. So yeah, I'm a bit rambling, a bit tired, a bit insane and crazy, and I'm having staring contests with my bird, which pretends it's sleeping, but it's actually staring at me right now. It likes to do that. So what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, okay. Self-portrait, self-portrait day is a wonderful day where kids dress up as themselves. And no, come on, pay attention, focus. So yeah, this one started out really ugly, and you can see I did that kind of monochromatic shading scheme to just get my color or just get my values in place before I started just kind of messing around and trying to poke in colors wherever I could. And it started to take form. But anytime you have a lot of line art and you try to do something real painterly, it's bound to look really ugly. Uh, Painterly stuff doesn't mix with line art. So until you get to the point where you start drawing, or I'm sorry, where you start painting over the line work, it always kind of looks terrible to me. So I like at this stage, it's like, oh, it's so terrible. But then I start painting over the line work, getting rid of the line work, and it starts to look a little better. The more line work I get rid of, the more kind of bearable it is to look at. But when you see something like that line art around the eyes, it just clashes with your brain so much. But it's a necessary step. You have to have your line art to know where things go. You don't have to, rather, but it's a good way to at least know what you're painting beforehand. Speeds up the process a bit. But you could just paint from nothing, but painting from line art just has that ugly step sometimes. If you paint under it, sometimes you just might want to paint right above the line art. But I've kind of already covered all of this stuff in my Painting Faces video series, so that's kind of useless, isn't it? Huh, maybe I could talk about something else. Um, yep. It's this God damn it. International Self-Portrait Day. Why do you have to be on November 1st? It's such an awkward day because it's right after Halloween and everyone's kind of not with it yet. But that's okay. It's okay to be not with it. So this facial expression I have going on here is kind of tired, kind of out of it. How fitting. But yeah, I have one eyebrow raised a little bit, which gives you those creases in the forehead, which are hard to make look nice a lot of the times. It's like those minor detail things that always wind up kind of throwing you off when you're trying to paint. Especially like creases in the skin. Those can be very difficult. Like when it comes to showing dimples and stuff in a painterly way, sometimes you'll throw in too much contrast and it'll look really bad. So it's hard to get that right mix of contrast in those colors. Uh, yeah, it's something that's kind of annoying anyway. I always found it annoying. So anyway, I happen to be wearing this bright gold shirt for whatever reason. I don't know. Bright gold shirt doesn't really go with my skin tone, but that's okay because it makes for this interesting painting. And I really hate that green background. I don't know why I went with that dark background. It's kind of ugly. But yeah, I got a little lazy with the hands and things. I figured I'd just leave them still line arty, which is goes against everything I just said, and here I am messing around. But yeah, I'm not throwing up gang signs right there. I am just holding my hand up. Oh man, this was the least informative thing ever. I apologize, but it is early morning, and everyone go out there, do your self-portraits. International Self-Portrait Day, the best day of the year. Not really, but it's a good art holiday. It's a good thing to do. All right, take care.